Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first Meet the Founders series that we're doing with AppSumo. My name is Chris from AppSumo. I'm running the source, which is for the Plus members inside with Katie, and we're going to be joined by the team behind Pickaxe today for a product walkthrough and some questions. So get them ready inside the chat and write them in the comments section. Without further ado, I'm going to invite the team to the chat. So,
Awesome.
Mike, thank you for joining
Hey,
me.
everybody. And I'm also here with my other co-founder and CEO, Nathaniel. He just wanted to say hi before he hopped to do some more work. But we're really excited to talk to you all today.
Awesome. So, thank you so much for joining me, Mike and Nathaniel from the Pickaxe team. Please introduce yourself. I know you've kind of already done that, but could you go over what is Pickaxe? Why did you originally create it?
Totally. So I'm Mike. I'm the COO of Pickaxe, co-founder. I also answer a ton of emails and questions. So maybe I've talked to some of you. And I do a lot of the prompt design and marketing and some of the side of Pickaxe.
I'm Nathaniel. I'm CEO. I've also answered some of the questions, and I'm a technical CEO. So I'm also trying to fix some of the issues and just make sure that everybody has a good experience.
And we're together in this. This is our office/house. We work downstairs. We live upstairs. So here's some of your problems we're whiteboarding out here. Daniel's working on that giant screen over there. We're really excited to talk to you.
Awesome.
And what Pickaxe is it's just basically a super easy no-code platform to let people make AI tools, GPTs, chatbots, whatever you call them. And really, I guess what we believe is that everybody has something, some sort of expertise or knowledge that's valuable enough to sell to somebody else through an AI tool. So we're all about making these tools where you can put in some of yourself, some of your own expertise, kind of the way Kajabi helps people make courses. We're kind of view ourselves as doing that, but in the AI space.
It's when we first started Pickaxe, I noticed that my co-founder Mike here and our third co-founder Ian were incredible prompt engineers that did amazing things with these AI models, but there wasn't really a place or an infrastructure for them to kind of experiment and play around. And so we started putting together Pickaxe as kind of a playground for people who were really great at prompt engineering, but maybe not so technical to get a chance to experiment. And we realized that some people can do such amazing things that monetization and building businesses had to be a part of it. And so many of you have noticed that, sometimes these models can provide really great results. Sometimes the results can be improved upon a little bit. And our goal with Pickaxe is to provide a no-code interface for people to iterate and improve until they're getting amazing results that people are willing to pay for.
Yeah, and just provide a little bit more, or one other way to think about it is we don't just let you make the tools. That's a big part of it, but we also let you deploy them, share them with people, monetize them, monitor them. We're basically trying to create a full stack on top of this. So Nathaniel's wheeled back over to do work. He just wanted to say hi. So now you're just stuck with me for the rest of the.
Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. It seems.
But we're excited to do this.
No, we got a lot of people tuning in from England, Canada, looks like it, all stoked. Someone's even said that it's a steal, which it is a steal. We're going to be going over, we'll share the actual lifetime deal on AppSumo in a minute, and then go over some of what they get in the lifetime deal for both tiers and maybe why they should get tier 2 instead of tier 1. But we'll cover all of that after the demo, and instead of waiting for questions at the end, we will answer them while we're doing the demo, just in case it's relevant for that part of the tool. But I had to go myself and love what it was able to create. What differentiates yourself from other tools like Pickaxe? Because I've used a couple, and I'd love to know what makes Pickaxe different.
Okay, sure. So I think one of the comments specifically mentioned custom GPTs from the OpenAI platform. So maybe that's a really good point of reference because people know what those are. So custom GPTs, it's like when you take a prompt from OpenAI and you turn it into this little thing that you can share with other people. However, when you share with other people, you're immediately going to run into some problems. One, it's going to be an OpenAI address, and it's going to look like OpenAI, and it's going to look like OpenAI is going to kind of steal all the juice and all the credit. So you can't really white label it. Also, you can't monetize it. So you can't, there's a lot of like weird janky ways to insert Google ads into your custom GPT or something. It's all very weird. But importantly, you can't just sell your custom GPT for $1 or $5 or $10. Also, you can't really monitor what's going on. You can't see how good the responses are, how people are talking to it. So to us, it's very strange to have a store and sell stuff and have no idea who your customers are. And then also, though this is kind of in a weird between spot, is a lot of times people who don't have ChatGPT Pro accounts can't use your tool. This is kind of different from thing to thing. But for these and like a lot more reasons, OpenAI is kind of like this walled garden. They want everything to happen on their platform with their name on it. So Pickaxe, we're all about letting you launch it really as a business. So in our opinion, what do you need to run a business? Well, you need to have your brand on it. You need to white label it. You need to see who your customers are. You need to be able to charge money. You need to be able to improve it. You need to be able to iterate on it. All these sorts of things.
That's it. What's come up there is I know I've seen inside Pickaxe you're allowed to change fonts and you're allowed to add the brands. But once the user has inputted information, are we as the builders able to see their chat logs?
Yes. Well, so you can sort of anonymize it, so it's all just random users. Like it'll say user 166678999 or whatever. But if you add accounts to your studio, so that people have to sign up with an email, one of the major advantages is that you can kind of see the logs. So for people that are in, for example, a really common use case are people that are, let's say, a sort of consultant or online coach. So Pickaxe is a way to monetize their expertise and sell access, but it's also a wonderful lead generation tool. So they can kind of see who's in their studio, who's spending $20 a month on their studio. And then certain people, they can kind of hop in and help them, and they can upsell them on the higher touch services. And this is really common for Pickaxe. People who have some sort of expertise or framework that they're selling to people, AI helps them scale it to way more people to sell the basic levels of their service, but then to still upsell the valuable higher touch parts of their consulting or coaching.
Yeah, I've got some questions here actually coming up from Ben. Are there agents for this so that I can apply this through APIs, so I can have fully trained AIs per user? Does that make sense?
Cool. Well, there's a couple different things that question could be asking, but I'll try to cover both of them. So you cannot access your pickaxes through API at this moment. It's definitely something people have asked about, but at the moment people have to use a pickaxe on the Pickaxe website, in a studio, or embedded into their own website as an iframe. But you can't programmatically tap into pickaxes through an API. So we don't offer our own services through API. Now we have a sort of experimental beta feature that it's pretty powerful, but we're trying to roll it out in a really easy no-code way that lets your pickaxe tap into other APIs. For example, the stock market has an API, this financial prep modeling service, and you can ping it with a ticker like AAPL for Apple, and you can get the most recent quote on all the things: the price, the price to earnings ratio, the dividends, whatever, the high, the low for the day. So you could make a bot that pings it with whatever tickers the user mentions in a conversation, whatever stocks. It could make a call to the API endpoint and get the most up-to-date information. So I don't know how familiar people are with APIs in this platform, but it's definitely something a lot of people have been asking about, and it really helps pickaxes become more powerful by helping it ping third-party services.
Yeah, and I think that's when we go in the demo, we'll see capabilities. And when you check on the web browser, then that means users can search using the internet. But we'll go over that in a minute. I think if we have a couple more questions, and then we go into a demo, and then we can answer some more questions. This is the first Meet the Founder series, so we'll be evolving as we go. So please keep adding your questions below, and we'll get them covered today. So here, can you create quizzes with conditional logic?
Can you create quizzes of conditional logic? Well, inside of a tool, like a chatbot, let's say, you can create some conditional logic. This isn't necessarily the strong point of AIs, but it can definitely work. So, a use case I was helping someone with the other day was it was a bot that helped someone create a webinar. So, it asks them 10 different questions. And based on how they answer the questions, it's going to do different things. And then at the end of the conversation, it's going to kind of outline a webinar and how to market it and these sorts of things. So, I can kind of show you this a little bit when we do the demo, but there are definitely ways to add basic logic for if this, then that, ask this question, then ask this question, and then depending on how they answer, ask this question or this question. So you can definitely create some logic, but it's important to understand that these language models, the big difference between like writing a code, like a Python script, is that it's deterministic. It's always going to behave the same way. AI is way more flexible. It's what you would call non-deterministic. It's probabilistic. So you can lay out some rules for how it should behave, but it's not going to always run the same way, if that makes sense. And this has tons of advantages. This is what makes it really powerful, flexible Play-Doh with which to make some sort of awesome tool. But it will, it won't behave the way like a Python script has. It has deterministic logic. But this will make more sense, hopefully, when we actually get into the builder.
Yeah, and I feel like these tools are perfect for beginners because we can just add what we want the user, how we want the user to respond without all the technical stuff of learning how to code. There's another great question by Sam, which I think we need to gather is, do we have a few case examples of what has been built in Pickaxe and how it was quickly brought together? So maybe here just cover a couple case studies or use cases, and then how have they been monetized?
Totally. I'd say in the earliest days of Pickaxe, so we've been around for about a year, or a little over a year. And what we saw a ton of people doing, we always let people create tools and embed them. The studio is kind of a new product in the last 2 months. We saw tons of people who had websites like coaches, consultants, marketers who were selling some sort of consulting service, create tools that offered some of the services and place them behind paywalls on their own websites with embeds. So anyone who has some sort of like marketing framework or coaching framework, they're really, it's a great use case for Pickaxe. So let me hop into a couple very specific ones. So last week I was helping a guy who he helps small musicians make money and manage their career and plan house tours. So he made a suite of about 10 tools that all do things that he already does. So one of them helps them write press releases. One of them helps them generate album covers. One of them, you put in a bunch of like 10 locations where you're going to play house shows or backyard shows, and it kind of helps you come up with a calendar for it, right? So he has a bunch of services that he was basically delivering via email or like phone calls that he's basically turned into a Pickaxe. Another great case is education. So we have multiple people who are doing some form of college application help, because what a college application is, it's just like preparing a document that will get you into college or not get you into college. And you're just rearranging the information in different ways. So they have a series of tools that help them come up with a good essay, come up with a unique selling point in their essay. The inputs are people put in what their extracurricular activities are, all these sorts of things, right? These are just the stars, and the AI helps you come up with a constellation that makes sense. And so it helps them write the essay. It helps them answer different questions. It helps them just figure out how to present themselves. This is a really popular use case. Also in the education space, we have tools to help people with, for example, English literature is a big thing. Like people don't like reading Shakespeare. So we have a lot of tools around translating. You're laughing, I guess, because you've grown up with Shakespeare in the UK. But for a lot of Americans, it's very hard. So it helps translate Elizabethan English into plain spoken English. AI is really good at this. It helps translate or analyze poems and provide quick meanings. And let's see some other good use cases. We're located in Los Angeles, our company. So we actually have a lot of people in the film industry using these things, especially on the pre-production side of film. So one thing a lot of people have to do is read scripts and then, write coverage about it. So we have some tools built around that. They also have to sort of take scripts and break them down and arrange them into shooting days and orders. So we have people building tools around this. And really, I mean, one of the interesting things about use cases about Pickaxe is the use cases are so far and broad because you can kind of do anything with this. But I would say the critical mass of our customers are in, a lot of them work as marketers, consultants, coaches, course creators, which is why it has those tags on AppSumo.
Yeah, and it's just an additional. So if you do have a course, then you can create this a Pickaxe as an additional product to support the learning process. I think that's what I've done for using other builders like this. But so the use case example I did is I created a recipe generator. So I have a fridge and I don't know what to create, so I just created the prompt builder inside of the Pickaxe, and now it helps me come up with meal recipes based on the food that's left in the fridge that week. So it was really cool. I think now we've kind of gone over Pickaxe generally and use cases, but I think it would be even more valuable to go into a demo and then answer some more questions that have come up, because we've got a lot in the chat.
Totally. I can share my screen here.
Yes.
And on the use cases, I would generally say the more specific, the better. If you're operating in a niche or have some sort of specific knowledge, you're a really good candidate to turn some of that knowledge into a specific AI tool. We definitely have people make broad AI tools all the time, but the more specific, the better. Like yesterday in the dashboard, I just saw one all about cat care monetized for the first time. So that was exciting. You're always surprised at what people are able to turn into valuable products. So here we are on the homepage, and I'm no longer looking at the chat. So please just, bombard me with any questions that we want to answer, and I'll stop and answer them. So this should be a familiar page to you if you visited our website. And I'm just going to take you through the flow of creating a tool and then putting it into a studio. And hopefully this will uncover a lot of fertile territory for us to talk about. So if you hit the create button, you have three options. You can create a form, you can create a chatbot, or you can have AI create a tool for you. It's going to create 80% of the tool. So I will just walk you through each one of these because most people create chatbots, but forms are very valuable too. So I'll take you through this first. So what a form is it's basically like a little Mad Libs thing, right? So you are able to write a prompt, and then you're able to add little user inputs over here. So maybe actually let me start from scratch, and this will be easier. So the prompt might be something like write a cover letter. And by the way, what's a prompt? If you've used ChatGPT before, hopefully you know what this is. It's just plain natural language instructions in English, but it could be in Thai or Spanish or German or any language you want that is in telling the AI what to do. So, and we let you templatize this. So we could say, hey, write a cover letter. The job is boom. And as I add a input here, we see that over here, a little form field has appeared. My past experience is blank. So this is, we have our first super simple Pickaxe. We say, hey, write a 300-word cover letter. The job is blank. My past experience is this. And maybe this is a tool I'm only going to use myself. Personally, I'm going to say Mike's cover letter generator. And here we have the bare bones of a form. So you can test, this is kind of a preview of what your form would look like. And we can test it. We can say, hey, I'm applying to be a software engineer, and my experience is None, but I watched a YouTube video about coding one time. And you can test the prompt and see what it generates. So here we go. Now, I will say that most people spend longer than this on a tool. They spend the average time in the builder is about 7 to 8 minutes. So you do want to spend a little bit of time kind of testing and improving it. But if we like this, we can just continue. Here's a little preview of the form, and we'd publish. And then I now have this super simple form that people enter stuff into, and they submit, and they get an answer. And I can do all sorts of stuff with this. And I'll tell you how we can deploy it in a little bit.
Yeah, I think I think it's good to go through the settings inside of
Absolutely.
the form and what they are and what some of the capabilities are. I liked when I did go in the icebreakers, so you're really helping us simplify the build. But if you could just go through that,
Sure.
and
I'll
then
do
there's a question about how do the credits work?
Totally. So I'll go through all the settings in the chatbot here. Now, the credits, basically, running AI models is not free. So every time the AI generates a response, this costs 1 credit. So if it generates a response in the builder here, when you're testing it, when you're using the tools, when you have them embedded, these are all 1 credit. And you can buy more credits, but generally the best thing to do is if you're going to have tons and tons of usage, rather than get stuck with Pickaxe as a middleman, we give you the ability to put in your own API key. And if you don't know what that is, that's just basically this key, this password for OpenAI or another model provider that is tied to your account. So if you put in your own API key, this lets you have unlimited usage billed at cost from the model provider rather than going through Pickaxe as a middleman, because we really don't want to be in the situation where we're just selling you credits, because it's not good for you or us or anybody. You get cheaper and more interrupted usage when you put in your own API key. However, on the AppSumo deals, we do give you a bunch of credits to get started, because it's, we want you to just start building and deploying a studio and monetizing sooner rather than later. So that's why we kind of give you credits, so that you don't have to worry about any of that stuff for a while.
Because I'm just looking at the tiers, it looks like for tier 1 there's 250 monthly credits. How many pickaxes do you think you can create with those monthly credits? And would you recommend maybe just creating 1 pickaxe and putting all your attention into that one?
Limited pickaxes. It's all a matter of how often you use those pickaxes and how often other people use those pickaxes. But there's no limit to the number of pickaxes you create. Creating does not take any, like if I just do this, click next step, I didn't use any credits. I just made the thing, right? What uses the credits is talking to the this uses a credit. Hey, I want to create a course about making no-code tools. It's only when you are having the AI generate responses that uses credits, basically.
Are there any test credits? Because you created it for the first time, you don't know what the prompt's going to look like in the finish. Is there any? Do you give any test credits for a pickaxe?
So right now, no. If you create something here and you test it, those use credits. But I will say that we aren't stingy about credits. So there's ample opportunities across the site to get new credits. Like if you do a phone call with us, we'll give you credits. If you fill out a survey, we'll give you credits. So we're not stingy with giving you free credits if it's truly something holding you back from doing your, from testing a business and launching a successful business. Because really the goal with Pickaxe, the way where you're successful is also the case where we're successful. Because if you create a tool in the studio and you monetize, there's a revenue share model. So basically, all of our incentives are tied to you being successful. The case where you use all your credits and no one buys your studio is not good for us, and it's not good for you. So basically, the site and the way it's built is to align our interests so that you can launch a successful business. This is maybe a long-winded answer, but if you need extra credits, there's ample opportunities across the site to get them.
No, that's perfect. You mentioned Studio a couple of times, and there was a question in here about what is a studio, and how do you create a studio?
Well, I'll get to that. That'll be very naturally answered when I make a studio, I think. So I'll if it's cool with you, I'll make a chatbot here and go through all the functionalities, and then we'll get into Studio and we can talk all about
that's fine. With it says GPT 3.5. Is there a way for you to blend different language models into a prompt, or is it one language model?
That would be a lot of fun. Maybe in the future, we've talked about the idea of linking tools, but right now it's just one model for one tool. But let's look at this. So when you are building a tool, whether a form or a chatbot, and to orient everyone here, I'm now in the chatbot builder, which is different than a form. A chatbot is just a conversation. The builder looks kind of similar, but we don't have the ability to add these little Mad Libs fields. Here you can click and you can choose your model. So there's OpenAI's models, there's Mistral models. Mistral's a big AI company from Europe, French company. They're quite interesting. And then there's Anthropic models. So Claude, Opus, and Claude Sonnet. So when you pick a model, that just means we are a model agnostic platform. So that means your settings and your prompt and all in your documents are all going to ping that model for a response.
Perfect. That's answering a lot of questions in the chat. And then if we scroll down, what does it mean by knowledge base and
totally
intro message?
Maybe I'll just make a tool and I'll go through every single one. So let's say maybe I can copy and paste one really quickly. So here we go. One of the most popular tools I made personally, when I have free time, which is rare, I like to make little tools and try to make them go viral, is I made this tool based on Charlie Munger, the investor, Warren Buffett's partner. And it's pretty popular. A lot of people think he's funny to talk to because he's kind of this curmudgeonly smart guy. So I'll just kind of paste this in here. So you are Charlie Munger, the legendary investor. You're known for all this sort of stuff, right? And as you see, I then added a couple rules about how you should speak. So we talked to Charlie. He says, "Hey, what do you want? Get to the point." And that's all sort of prompt design. So if I get rid of this and I say, he's probably going to be a lot more. See, this, we don't have to read it, but we can already tell it's a lot longer. So this is why it's fun to be in the builder, because you can kind of experiment with different things. And AI models are very, very pliable and flexible. So you really can achieve pretty interesting results by just writing interesting prompts and experimenting. Okay, so if we go down here, we can go through each one of these. So let's just say that we love the prompt, debatable, but let's just say that we're very happy with it. You can then do stuff like, well, we really want Charlie Munger to know about so here is a Charlie Munger. Here's like this little document about Charlie Munger that will add some sort of knowledge about him. Because right now, if we ask this thing, it would know what is in the model. The model has read a lot of stuff and been trained about a lot of stuff in Charlie Munger, but not all the specific stuff is there. And it draws from a broad pool of resources. So now I added this Charlie Munger book summary. So now it has some more direct knowledge about what Charlie Munger does and who he is. We can also add a website. So we could, let's add the Berkshire Hathaway website,
Yeah. So it'll just pull directly from that website instead of all websites.
So now we've added this to the knowledge base. So you can start to add different things here. And it's important to understand it's not like this is the only thing it's going to look at. It's just this is now prioritized information. What happens when you put something in the knowledge base is whether it's a 1-page document or like a 500-page document is our system. This does not cost any credits, by the way. Our system looks at it and then like quickly indexes it into little chunks. And then anytime someone says something, it will look at what's in the knowledge base and grab relevant information to inform its answer, basically. It won't read the whole 500-page book every time you talk to it. But for example, if there's a section about whales, all about whales, and the person asks about marine life or animals in the ocean, it will grab the section about whales, even though no one said the word whale, right? It uses sort of what we call semantic search to grab relevant pieces of information and share it with the model before it comes up with a response.
Gotcha.
So,
There's a good question here that just sorry to distract you there.
yeah, go ahead.
Lee has asked, can a pickaxe remember a user across several visits? So this might be what
Right
you
now,
just said here about context and semantic.
okay, yeah. So right now it does not remember users, but this is actually a feature that we're working on. And this will be one of the major advantages of the studio. Because if you embed a tool on your website, for example, the tool won't know who's using it or who, if the same person is using it. But with the studios, we've built in this idea of accounts. So people will create accounts and then use your thing. So we do have a unique identifiers for who's using it. And the next step for us on our roadmap is actually to build in this idea of user memory so that it will remember who people are, what they said, key information about them. So this is coming in the roadmap. So that's awesome that you asked that. But currently, no.
And I spotted as well there is a history. So when the pickaxe is live, you can go back and go through your history. But is that only available for people that have built a pickaxe, or is it?
Yes. So if you've built a pickaxe, you can see what has happened on the pickaxe. You can look at the answers. It's always very entertaining. It's very fun. So this is we let you build, deploy, monetize, and monitor. And this is in the monitor bucket. You can check out what people are doing on your pickaxe, which is very interesting because people don't always interact with these things the way you might think they will. And it also lets you iterate and build it in a it helps you improve it and make it better. And then a lot of times these histories are leads, depending on what your business is.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's someone said something about can I use this as a lead gen tool, create a pickaxe, and at the end of the conversation, it will ask for the email of the person interacting with the pickaxe.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let me just show you one. These are examples, by the way. So if you click it, it'll fill in the area here. Now you shouldn't just click this and build it, but this will kind of give you a structure. So this is a course creator that helps people build a course. And here are the rules. And then there's this idea of conversation steps. So it says, hey, first, and I'll do this very quickly, but we're going to say, hey, and it's about to ask me, what do you want to teach in your course? What do you want to teach in your course? So it said what was here. And I know this might look like there's like brackets and stuff, and it's like in a special manner. There is no right or wrong way to do this. The metaphor I always use is if you can explain how to do something to a reasonably smart intern, that's how you should talk to these things. So just be very clear and explain what to do it, but there's no special syntax or anything, right? I'm just doing this to show you that it's going to follow these directions. So question 2 is, who do you want to help? Who do you want to help with your AI course, right? So if you kind of follow this structure, you could easily say, make question 4, what's your email? Right? And it'll ask that, right? So you can definitely give this thing structure. And then someone way in the beginning asked about conditional logic. And this is kind of how you do it. If you could just explain conditional logic in normal language, this thing will follow it most of the time.
And then once they've submitted that email, does that collect somewhere else
right now
on the
no.
back end?
That's another. Well, so it's in the history, so you can always go into history and grab it. And the studio, which I'll get to, has some easier ways to bulk search responses. But right now, it's just in the history. So unfortunately, you have to go into it and find it. But that's another thing that's kind of on the roadmap, which is helping people collect information more intelligently.
Yeah.
And another thing you can do here is you could ask it to give the user this link, or at the end of the conversation, give the user this link, and then you could be like www.example.com/user survey, right? So maybe there's like a survey you want them to fill out at the end. But if you give it a link, it will output the link as a hyperlink. I'm going to quickly try to show you more of these things, though. The intro message is, hey, what's up? So what you type here appears here as an intro message. The icebreakers are basically little conversation starters to help. I mean, you don't have to do this, but you can if you want. So you see how there's like these little conversation starters now. You can rewrite these. We have AI generate them, but if they click this, it just puts it in the conversation, right? We also have capabilities. So I know I'm moving fast, but I'm just trying to show off all the things. So capabilities are, if you click this, so you can upload documents here. If you click this, allow users to upload their own documents, boop, this little paperclip appears here, which now means that your end users can upload their own documents only for the session. It's when they upload a document, it doesn't stay in the thing forever. It just stays in that one conversation. No one else is going to get it. If you allow web browsing, I think that's pretty clear. That lets them use web browsing. So you could say, hey, search the web and tell me who won the 2024 NBA Finals. I don't know if there's any basketball fans here, but this is information that is not, the model has not been trained on. So you can only find it by searching the web. It's going to search it. The Boston Celtics won. And then there's image generation too, if you wanted to generate an image.
Would you recommend they pick just one of these capabilities or all of them?
It depends on the use case. I will say the one limitation is it cannot search the web and generate an image in the same query. It can do both in the course of a conversation, but it can only do one at a time. So I can now say, hey, generate an image of basketball players, and it'll do this. But I could not say, hey, search the web and tell me who won the NBA Finals and generate an image of the winner.
Yes.
It has to be step by step.
Gotcha. Does it use any more credits if they upload a document to a query?
All the document stuff is free. There are underlying AI costs of that, but we cover all of that because it's difficult to price. So, and we will continue to cover all of that. It's just a lot simpler. So you can upload tons of documents, and I believe you can only upload 50 documents total, and each document needs to be less than 99 megabytes, which is a lot of documents and pretty big. So only a few users have ever really had a reason to exceed that limit, but it's a pretty generous limit.
Yeah, I've got a good question that's come up about privacy and compliance, and if an owner of the product can see what my users are doing with my product, I think the main question here was, let me actually go back to the first one on this, is I own my data. Can other people see what people are asking in the back end? Or could you go over a little bit about the
Totally.
data
So
sharing.
you as the business owner can see what people say. So that's either a really good thing or perhaps a bad thing. But that's how the system's built. So you can see, like, I'll show you an example. Here's the Charlie Munger bot I made. So we can see here, it's been run 32,000 times and 48 times today. So we can see it's going to take a little time to load, but you can kind of take a look at what people are saying, right? That's just kind of how the system's built. Now, I don't know who this person is because they're not using it within a studio, but you can see the uses. Let me go back there. As far as your privacy as a business owner, you do have privacy. We can't see stuff unless you give us admin privilege because you need help on something, but you don't have to worry about your things being looked at. And then as far as the underlying privacy of the AI models, that's something people ask about a lot. If you are using Pickaxe, you're accessing different models via API. That's how our system is built. And that's important because ChatGPT, for example, uses the ChatGPT training data, stuff on their website, on the GPTs and on ChatGPT, the interface. That's used to train their models. Stuff that's accessed through an API like us, we have a special business license with them, is not used, and the data is deleted. And that's enough for, I'd say, like 99% of business use cases, though for some people dealing with super sensitive data, they don't like it ever touching any other server. So hopefully that answered your questions. We have a privacy policy on the bottom of our website that you might want to read. But yeah, we could go into a lot more detail of that if we wanted to.
I saw as well when I created it, there's the private, unlisted, and public. And then you can also switch off community so people can't see what you're showing here. What was it? Community response feed?
Yeah, let's just quickly go over all this. This is where you delete something. If something's clonable, you can click this, it duplicates it. You can edit, you can deploy some information. This means you're using credits. This is where you enter your own API key. You just enter it, hit save. Public, unlisted, private. If something's public, then it's listed on our explore page here, which I encourage you to check out if you want to get some inspiration. So it just shows like top tools, and it shows we're starting to add the studios there. Unlisted means it's not listed on our website, but people can still use it. Private means that literally only your account, the owner, can load it, or where it's embedded. So a lot of people make a thing private so nobody can see it on Pickaxe, and then they embed it on a certain page. So if you want to make sure that only you can use it, or the places where it's embedded, you can put private here. This is called domain security, which means it can only be embedded on the domains you enter here. Use this with caution, though. It's like it might be a little too much power to expose, because sometimes you have to make sure you enter your domain correctly. We have some problems with that with some of you. Prompt runs per user. If you embed your tool on a website and you're like, you know what, I only want people to use it 10 times, this is where you do that. And we keep track of people based on IP address. So this prevents someone from just going and using all of your uses. Clonable, when I click this, now this is highlighted and I can clone it. So can other people, which is important to understand. Community response feed. I can go over this. This is actually a feature that we are sunsetting. So don't get attached to it, but it basically means that I can create a page where everybody can see everybody else's responses. But we're sunsetting this feature. So it says make all inputs and responses publicly visible to everyone who visits this Pickaxe.
Amazing. There's one question here you mentioned about IP. Who owns the IP of the final product?
The business owner owns it. So you own your prompt and your business or your IP.
Great. And then if we could go into the deploying options and the monetization. And is the roadmap public?
We talk about it publicly, but we don't have a page of the website that has it public, though we are in sore need of doing that.
Also, okay.
We've been reshuffling priorities. I mean, one of the awesome things about the AppSumo community is it's just an avalanche of enthusiastic people. So you really talking to a lot of you guys and hearing your questions and emailing all of you. Like in my inbox, I have 31 new emails I got to go through. Probably many from AppSumo people. We've learned what's important. So we're kind of reshuffling what's the most important priorities. But we will have a public roadmap soon enough. So let's go through deploying. So once you've made a tool, you're redirected to a page where you can kind of manage it. You're going to hit deploy. You have two options here. If you want to put it in a studio and monetize through our infrastructure, add to studio with the little money sign. If you want to embed it in your own website, monetize with your own infrastructure, like maybe you have a website and you have member space or Wix paywalls or something, this is the option you pick. It's pretty simple. You're redirected to a little thing where you can customize what it looks like. You can be like, I don't want to show the picture. I want to show the title, all sorts of stuff, right? And you can customize the color, all sorts of stuff. I picked some kind of ugly colors because I'm bad at design. The font, all this sort of stuff. And since you're all AppSumo people, you can white label it. If you don't, there's a little pickaxe thing, but you just click and you white label it. Ignore my ugly color scheme. Once you're ready, you just hit copy code, and then you can embed it in your website. And whatever code you copy will have all of this design information embedded in it, basically. And you can create multiple I could create 2 different Charlie Munger embeds with different looks to them that behave differently. Because once you copy the code, this is just hard coded, and then you just paste it into a website, and it'll render. But I want to hop into the studio. Are we ending at 9:50?
Yes, we are. No, we're not. We can end on the hour.
Okay,
Because
cool.
we just want to go over the actual deal as well. But
Yes.
let's go to the studio just so then, because I think that's a really cool feature that you've got.
Yeah, I'll try to go over this really quickly. So here is this thing I was just making for fun. It's like a couple bots that help people with dating, basically. I haven't really had time to like try to turn it into a big business or anything, but this is one thing I made. So this thing, here's what it looks like. You basically have different tools here in the sidebar, and people can use it. And there's like a little home page, and there's also a landing page that you can customize with like a nice image, big text. You can see the products, and then you can add pricing. So you can customize all of this in the studio. You can add new tools. You can add folders to organize the tools. So we could be like, I don't know why we'd want to do this, but we could say, hey, we want to add Charlie Munger to the dating studio because everyone needs a wise grandfather to help them with dating. You can customize the pricing page. You can customize all the different pop-ups that people get, like when people run out of uses. But then importantly, the functionality of the studio is there are different usage tiers. So a guest is someone who visits the studio and you don't know who they are. They don't give you your email address or anything. So we could say, hey, people that land on our page, they can use it 5 times for free. There's a little bug here, but you can set it to 5 times at free, or you can set it to 0 times. For the member tier, you can then you can say, hey, if you give me your email, I'll let you use it 10 times. And then, hey, if you pay me $5 a month or $10 a month or whatever, I'll let you use it 100 times. And let's say we want a super tier. We can be like, hey, well, for $25 a month, you get infinity uses. Similarly, you can also customize what tools they can use at the different tiers. You can be like, hey, if you're a guest and you're a member, you can just use one tool. But if you pay me, you can use all the tools.
Gotcha. No, that's really cool.
And then you can also monitor. So here's like a little thing. No one's bought this studio yet. I just made it the other day, kind of through a demo. But some people are using it, as you see. All I did was post it on a couple Reddits for fun. And then we can kind of see different responses. But as you see, like, I don't actually see who this user is. But you can manage users, and we can see some of the people that have signed up. I know I'm going very quickly. And then maybe I can quickly show you other people's studios. Here's a really good one. This is the one I was helping someone with last week. This is like a music consultant. So his actually looks better than mine because he's an eye for design. So he's here. He's got these different products you can try for free. These ones are paywalled. Here's his pricing. So very interesting. So yeah, I mean, now would be probably a good time to answer any specific questions about the studio. I don't know if there have been any, and I can maybe specifically show some usage or so, answer those questions.
Yeah, so anybody does have a question about Studio, please drop them in the chat now. I'll just review past ones. Let's just cover this quick one. How would I be able to set up subdomains and custom domains for studios?
Yes. So I don't know if you can see the URL bar of the screen share, but it says toolbox.newmusiclives.com. So he has a website called newmusiclives.com, and he set up a subdomain. So it might be helpful to. So here's my little Hinge date helper. By default, we spin you up a URL that is like studio.pickaxeproject.com, but you can add a subdomain easily. You can add a subdomain or a custom domain. So most people do that because they already have a website or they'd like to totally white label this, and you could make that whatever you want. And that is no extra cost.
And then some questions that haven't been asked, but I know you have a Stripe integration. What other integrations are you planning to integrate with?
Totally. So the Stripe integration is for monetization, to help you monetize. They have a great payment processor, fraud detection, all sorts of stuff. So they're best in class. As far as other payment processors, I know multiple of you have asked or have said that Stripe does not work in your country. So we don't know what. I mean, it's not in the short-term road plan to add another payment processor, but it's something we're looking at. So if there's ones you guys like, you can send them to us, and we'll see how hard it is to, integrate with them. As far as other integrations across the platform, we're going to do this API program, we're developing this API feature that will let your pickaxe ping other APIs, which will really open up tons of integrations like Zapier and Make.com and these sorts of things. So for us, that is sort of a portal to tons of future integrations.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited for that one to come out. There is I don't know how on the scale of importance, but this one about translation. Can I create a pickaxe in Spanish, in German?
Totally, people do that all the time. We have had multiple. We're doing this thing with this foundation in Mexico, and a bunch of Mexican entrepreneurs are making little platforms with this. One of the AppSumo people who's monetized a lot already, I saw, I'm not even sure what language it was in. I think it was like in Slovenian or Serbian or something. But basically, these models are really smart. So you can have them produce outputs in any language. In the studio, you can change pretty much everything. So we could, make this in Espanol. You can change this. You can change all sorts of stuff. And we even give you the ability, where is it? All the little pop-ups, you can change this. Bienvenido, I think, is welcome in Spanish. You can even change login. I don't know what login is in Spanish, but like access.
Don't ask me. No, but that's good to know.
And there's maybe a couple spots. Like I think I would say about 96% of the studio is customizable. So we've had a lot of success with people creating totally foreign language studios. Like that's absolutely something we're aware of and is also a priority for us.
Awesome. Okay, I know we're getting close on time, so I think it would be important to just go over the AppSumo Lifetime Deal. So I can share my screen and then we can just go over some questions. And then while that's happening, I'd love it if all 86 of you would put some ideas down in the chat of use cases that you think you could create with Pickaxe while I get that ready. So if you have if whatever your business is or whatever course idea you have for a pickaxe, please drop it in the chat now. There's a point to this. So let's go to Pickaxe. Here we go. So can you see the screen? Pickaxe Deal on AppSumo.
Yep, I can see it.
Awesome. So could you just run through what they get with the lifetime tier 1 for $39?
Yeah, well, maybe you can help me by scrolling down.
Okay.
Okay, so for both tier 1 and tier 2, you're going to get access to all the basic stuff of unlimited pickaxes, ability to white label your tools, remove pickaxe branding, add your own logos, add chat icons, add custom domains to studios. You'll get the ability to monetize your tools. You'll get access to this, the better models. If you're on a free account, you can only use like a couple models. You'll be able to use GPT-4 and Claude Opus and Mistral Large. You'll be able to add a ton of documents. Someone asked, was it 50 per account or 50 per tool? For account globally, it's per tool. So free users can only add 5 documents. You'll be able to add a ton. And then there's a lot of little things like that, but then those are kind of the big things. And then for tier 1 specifically, you'll get 250 monthly credits to get you started going. And you'll be able to make up to 3 studios. And you'll be able to bring your own API key so that you can kind of get unlimited usage. For tier 2, you'll get 3 times as many credits to get you started, 750 monthly credits, and you'll be able to make up to 50 studios, which are those like web app containers that we were talking about. And you'll be able to bring your own API key as well for unlimited usage.
Yeah, that's huge because it could be 50 client websites of pickaxes that they want created. So yeah, there's huge business to be created with tier 2 and even tier 1.
Yeah, I'd say the major differentiator is the credits, but then the studios, in my opinion. Some people, they want to make one studio. That's it. If that's you, I think tier 1's there. But I'd say the majority of customers are making a lot of these things, experimenting with businesses. And like you said, a very common use case is to have tons of different businesses. The reason 50 is the number, that might seem arbitrary. It's not. We have a real estate consultant who literally has 48 studios because he's made a different one for each real estate agency in the Washington area where he works. So for him, he has single studios that he sells for tons of money. And yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's great. And then do you have a community, and how are you helping new pickaxe users with coming up with their own pickaxe ideas? And do you have a forum?
Totally. We have a community forum on our website. In the top nav bar, there's a button that says community. If you click it, you shall be in our community, which is right now a big forum. People ask questions. They talk about businesses, how to start them. And also we're also pretty accessible. This might be dumb, but we have buttons all over our website that just automatically schedule a call with us. So you can always schedule a call and talk to us. And you can also email us directly at info@pickaxeproject.com. And as far as other pieces of community like Discord, Reddit, we have little infant versions of that, but we don't really put a lot of time into it. But if you guys want that sort of thing, we can definitely make that more active. I would say the meat of the community activity is on the community forum, though.
Awesome. No, that's great. So we're coming to an end, and before this recording, just behind the scenes, we were talking about a special contest idea that we've come up with, and it's only for Plus members. So if you're a Plus member, then hopefully you're celebrating behind the screen. It's for you. So if you being an AppSumo Plus member means you get 10% off all tools store wide. And then at special sales, you'll get an extra 10% off. If you sign up in 2024, you'll get $100 in coupons to get towards products, but that's on a quarterly basis, so you get $25 a quarter. The AppSumo Plus membership is $99 a year, so it already pays for itself by doing that. But we do these special competitions for Plus members only. So inside, when you sign up for AppSumo Plus, you'll get access to our exclusive community called The Source. I'll be in there. We'll be running events in there, and there's another great opportunity to network with other people that are building tools, buying tools, and discuss. I think we've got 7,000 plus members in there, but we've got a special competition that's going to be officially announced inside the Source next week, but we thought we'd just soft launch it today. So that is, we want you to create your own unique use case of how you're using Pickaxe or any other select, original, or Plus exclusive tool that's live right now. So buying a tool, picking up a tool, sharing a use case of it, and creating a video. The video has to be between 1 and 20 minutes in length, but we'll be picking our favorite, and those will feature on the product pages on AppSumo. So a quick recap: pick up Pickaxe or pick up a similar select, original, or plus tool. It could be one you already have. Create a use case of it from your business. Turn that into a video between 1 and 20 minutes in length, and then submit that video via the form that's going to be released inside the Source next week. And you could be in with a chance of winning some credits towards more tools. So I'm really excited to see some more Pickaxe use cases, and hopefully get them live on AppSumo so more people can check out Pickaxe. So Mike and Nathaniel, thanks so much for joining me on the first ever Meet the Founders webinar. It's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of value from it as well. And I'm sure we'll be sending you the YouTube link after this so you can go in and answer some more questions that weren't covered. But thanks again for taking the time and for sharing some best practices on how to use Pickaxe.
Awesome. It's my pleasure.
Awesome. Well, thank you everybody else for listening. And if you do have follow-up questions, ask them on the AppSumo Pickaxe Deal page or on YouTube, and the Pickaxe team will be able to support you there. But until then, I'll see you next Friday at 11 a.m. CST with another founder.